Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you have not been here before and this is your first time, I'm Courtney and I am a lifestyle and mom vlogger, and you can get to know me more by watching some of the other videos on my page and also following me on Instagram, which is right here. And I just wanted to come on here today and do a travel Q&A for you. Before I went to Puerto Vallarta, you guys had asked me a ton of questions on Instagram, and I thought it would be a really good time to answer them. Frequent Mexico quite a bit. My father-in-law and mother-in-law live there full-time in Cabo, so we go fairly often, so I know quite a bit about the area and about Mexico in general. The reason that I'm wearing a hat today is because one, it's super cute, and for two, I have a giant zit on my forehead. So I didn't want to subject you guys to that. So I'm going to go through the questions that you asked me and answer them the best that I can. A lot of the questions may be questions that I can only give my opinion on because I am still a fairly new mom. So even though Castin has traveled quite a bit, I feel like I still have a lot to learn as he grows and goes through the different stages. Okay, so question number one, and I got this question quite a bit, was can you talk about sleeping and your schedule when it comes to time change? We're not super strict on bedtime when we're on vacation because we feel like the later we can keep him up, the better he'll sleep throughout the night in a new place. If there is a time change, we just kind of adjust his schedule. And when we were in Mexico, he only got one nap a day, unless he was napping in his stroller at some point in the morning, which I think he only did that twice. So around, I would say 1 o'clock is when I would go up to the room with him and put him down for a nap. He'd sleep for probably 2 hours, which gave me a good time to be out of the sun and, you know, just relax. He had a bedroom, which is where his pack and play was, and then we had a living room. So I was able to put him down and then hang out in a separate room so that he could really focus on falling asleep. So I will say that in the future, any hotel that we go to, we will definitely make sure that there's either 2 bedrooms or a bedroom that is closed off from another room, because it's easier for them to fall asleep if you're not in the room with them. At least for Castin it is. He's always really been a great sleeper, so luckily he did sleep through the night, all the nights that we were there, and he napped pretty well. I would say he would go down around 8:30 or 9, which is not the norm at home. At home he is down by 7:30. Sometimes if we've had a really busy day, he's even down by 6:45, but it's rare. I don't know what we would have done. We didn't have 2 separate rooms because I feel like we've had that issue in the past where we go to hotels and we kind of have to go to sleep when he goes to sleep. So we're not really able to enjoy ourselves in the evenings, which is also why we've kept him up later when we are on vacation. I feel like it's not always an option to have that second room. So, you know, you just kind of have to work with what you're given and obviously what you can afford, because a lot of hotels, it's expensive to have a room that has a sitting area in it. But I honestly don't know what we would have done if we didn't have that, because Castin is the type that if I'm in the room, he's so distracted, he will just not fall asleep. So we were able to get him to fall asleep and then sneak in there when we were ready to go to bed. This wasn't a question, but a few things that I would recommend you bring with you are the things that you find an essential when you're putting your baby to sleep. So for example, we brought a portable sound machine because Castin has a sound machine in his room, and I didn't want to bring the big bulky one. So I've talked about this sound machine in a lot of my other videos, and I'll link it again in the description. But it's the perfect sound machine to travel with, and I feel like he did really well with it on, and it was also soothing for us to have in the room when we were going to bed as well, just because we're used to, you know, the white noise. So I would definitely bring a sound machine and anything else that you use during bedtime. So if you read before bedtime, maybe bring a book or 2. If you use chest rub or anything, you know, else that you use to soothe your child, bring that with you too, so that they're mostly in their comfort zone. A question I got a lot was, what are your tips for the plane? And I recently asked all of you guys whether or not I should bring a car seat on the flight. And I got so many responses that said, yes, 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 bring a car seat. I got a few no's, but I will say that we will never travel without a car seat. It was an amazing experience. I'll link the car seat that we bought for this trip. We went to Walmart, bought a $40 car seat. It weighs about 8 pounds. And the awesome part of it is it fits under my UpAbaby stroller. So I wasn't having to carry it through the airport. I talked to Erin a lot about, you know, recommendations that she had for me when traveling with Castin, because at this age we have not traveled with him yet up until the Mexico trip. So I asked her, you know, if I bring the car seat, what do I do, you know, if he freaks out? And she told me her best advice would be to never take him out of the car seat, because if you take him out, he's not going to want to go back in, and it kind of just makes you a pushover. So during the flight, I never once removed him from the car seat. I did to take him to change his diaper, but right when we got back, even though he wanted to be outside of the car seat, I put him right back in it, and I feel like it worked really well. And at one point he knew that that was his seat and he had to just play quietly. He did have a little bit of a breakdown during the flight back, but I was able to bribe him with a sucker. Go me. Another thing I would recommend bringing on a flight is a lot of snacks. Whether they're snacks that you bring from home, whether you get the snacks at the airport. One thing we did get at the airport was like a little fruit cup, because he loves fruit, and I knew that that would settle him down if he had a massive fit, which luckily he didn't. But I just bring a ton of snacks. I bring a little backpack full of little toys that he's never seen before. This sounds crazy, but the one toy that he played with for a while was a master lock. So it was a lock, the old school locks that you get for your high school lockers before they had like the combos on them. And he literally played with the key and the lock for probably an hour. So I would say for my kid, it's things that are exploring toys, things that he needs to use his brain to play with. A tip of advice that I would give is, if your baby is drinking milk still, get a bottle full or even 2 at either, you know, Starbucks or, you know, pretty much any restaurant. A lot of places don't have whole milk. Somewhere that had 2%, which isn't whole milk, but he still, you know, was soothed after he drank it. So I would recommend getting that before you get on your flight. Don't worry about carrying milk through security. Just get it after you get through security, so that it's just one less thing that you have to worry about when going through security. Did you take a stroller? I always say that when I travel, I'm going to take my small portable stroller, which is just, you know, a cheaper one that I bought at Target. I know they bang them around when you check them, so I thought, you know, maybe I'll bring my smaller stroller. But I'm really glad that I brought my UpAbaby, only because it's just a bigger stroller and it fits so much underneath. And we were able to not only put the car seat under there through the airport, but we were able to put all of our towels and pool toys and 2 diaper bags and snacks and lunch. We were able to put all of that underneath when we would go down to the pool or the beach for the day. I'll link the stroller below, and I'm not saying that you have to go out and buy an UpAbaby stroller. There are plenty of options when it comes to finding a stroller that has significant storage. But I'm really glad that we brought mine, and also it was just a more comfortable option when it came to trying to get him to take his morning naps in his stroller. So I'm really glad that I brought that. I'm also going to link my portable one that I bring when we travel below too. It has a little bit of storage underneath, but it doesn't have as much as my UpAbaby. Beach vacation must-haves. My rule is to not overdo it. And for this trip, I think I overdid it a little bit, because for the most part, we were just in bathing suits all day. And I feel like must-haves, like, just bring your necessities. So bathing suit, sunscreen, bug spray, lotion for after you get out of the pool since it's so drying. I wouldn't worry about bringing your own towels, only because most resorts provide you towels and it's just one less thing that you have to shove into a suitcase. But again, I don't know if there's anything that I would recommend as like a must-have, because unless you're going, you know, Mexico, yes, it's a foreign country, but they still have big grocery stores. So if you run out of something, you can always just go and buy it. What do I bring in my carry-on? So I did a video on this, which I'll link in the description so that you can go back to it. I personally don't bring a carry-on. I only bring my diaper bag because it's just one less thing that I have to worry about. We always check bags, and if your flight includes checked bags, there's really no reason not to check your suitcase or your carry-on. I can tell you that my diaper bag had pretty much all the necessities in it. I also had Castin's little backpack for him. So I didn't really have a carry-on, but I will say that if you want to have a carry-on in case you're worried about your luggage being lost, which knock on wood, this isn't wood, but knock on wood, I have never lost my bag, or they've never lost my bag. But if you're worried about it, just bring a small carry-on that you can just stick in the overhead bin. First time going to Cabo, what are some tips you can give me? So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I frequent Cabo a lot, probably once a month, once every other month. I'm leaving in April to go back to Cabo, and I will do a little vlog about some of the hot places to hit up and show you the areas that we like to frequent. A lot of people ask me if it's safe there, and I'm going to give you the 411, and I'm going to be honest with you. It's safe if you are aware of your surroundings. And a lot of people are asking me, well, why do you go to Cabo when there's so much cartel activity and you just always hear bad things about tourists in Cabo? Most of them are out at 4 a.m. and they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I would not recommend going and partying your butts off and ending up drunk and blacked out in a back alley. But I would just recommend being aware of your surroundings. And let's be honest, there's cartel activity in your backyard, and you may or may not think that you live in the safest little town in the world, but there is drug cartel activity everywhere. You just have to be aware of where you're at and who you're with. I personally don't do the touristy things, so I'm not out at the clubs or the restaurants late at night. We know our little places that we like to go, but just be aware of your surroundings and of yourself, and you'll be fine. What resort did we stay at in Nuevo, Vallarta? So we fly into Puerto Vallarta, but we drove to Nuevo, Vallarta, and we stayed at Paradise Village. My grandma has timeshares there, and there were about 20 of us, and it's definitely a family-themed resort because, you know, they have a pool where there's a ton of pool activities, and it's definitely family-friendly. So if you're looking to get away just like as a romantic trip, I wouldn't recommend going there. But if you have kids, this is the perfect place because the pool activities keep them busy all day long. The beach is right there, so you can rent boogie boards. It's a blast. It's probably one of my favorite places to go when we go to Nuevo. It's probably one of my favorite places to go when we're in Nuevo Vallarta. And the nice thing about this resort is there's a grocery store and a mall on premises. So you don't have to leave really at all. And there's also probably 6 or 7 restauants. Of course, there's, you know, the Malecón or place downtown Puerto Vallarta is really fun to go to. But if you wanted to go somewhere where you didn't have to leave the resort, that would be a great option for you. And I will link their web address below. Do you worry about the food and water and Castin getting sick? So I will say that I have only been sick once in Mexico, and I think it was from sketchy margarita ice. But other than that, I've never been sick, and I would just say that it's pretty much a huge misconception. If you're at a really nice resort or a really nice restaurant, I can guarantee you that they have filtered water. So they're gonna make sure that you're not gonna be getting sick on their water. I will say that if you go somewhere new that you've never been and you feel more comfortable ordering bottled water, every restaurant and every resort has bottled water. I had a question, do you worry about Castin drinking the bathtub water? No, I don't. Again, if you're at a nice resort or an all-inclusive resort, I'm guaranteeing you that their water is filtered, so you will be fine. What do you do for meals, and is Castin good about eating anything you give him? So we don't order him his own food at his age, only because he'll take one bite and then he doesn't eat the rest. So unless it's something I can take home, like if we go to a restaurant and they have mac and cheese, I'll get that for him because I can always bring it home. But he's really good about just eating off of our plates and what we order. So I always make sure that when I'm ordering food, I'm ordering something that I can share with him. So if we go to lunch, I'm not ordering the buffalo wings, I'm ordering, you know, chicken tenders or something that he can share with me, just because for one, it's cheaper, and for two, I know he's going to get to the age where he wants to order his own food. So I feel like until you get to that age, just share with him or her what you're eating. It's just so much easier. Does my 2-year-old have to ride in his car seat on the plane? Do we check it? So this was a question I did not have an answer to because I don't know. I found out for the first time that with Southwest, if your child is under the age of 2 and you bring your car seat and you have they have extra seats open on the flight, you can use the car seat in one of those open seats and not pay for it. We paid $800 for Castin to have his own seat to and from Mexico. Come to find out, we had open seats on our flight to Mexico and back from Mexico. And the Southwest people were awesome. They refunded us for his flight because he was able to fly for free. So I don't know the answer to the question on if he has to ride in a car seat at the age of 2. So if you know, please post in the comments below what the answer to that is, because I don't know. Do you have a favorite airline? We love Southwest. We have never had an issue with Southwest. Their customer service is great. I feel like any airline, you're gonna spend time on hold waiting for them to answer, but they have always resolved our problems, and we always fly Southwest. I have had companion status for the past 2 years, meaning I get to fly for free as long as I'm with Zach. Castin gets to fly for free up until the age he's 2. And we have also had A-list status for the past 2 years because any credit card that we use the Southwest card. It's just they just have great promotions, and we feel like we've been treated the best with Southwest. 2 recommendations for airports. If you travel internationally a lot, and even if you don't travel internationally, ClearMe, which I'll link below, it gets you through security faster. I don't know if all airports have it, but every time we have gone to the airport, there has been an outrageous security line, and we just go straight through the ClearMe line. We use our fingerprints, and it is so fast, and we will never regret paying the annual fee, especially since we fly a lot, to be a part of ClearMe. There's also a passport app which you can use, and you can pretty much get through customs super fast. You don't have to stop at the kiosks because you've already done it on your phone. And there's a few passport apps, I think. So this is not really part of the international travel Q&A, but somebody asked me road trip recommendations for not overpacking. My one advice for you is the luxury of having a car and going on a road trip means you can overpack, and it's not a problem. I would say always overpack instead of underpack if you can, meaning if you're driving, don't worry about overpacking. It's the luxury of being able to go on a road trip. And just remember that you can always buy what you need whenever you get there. You don't have to pack a box of diapers. You know, bring one of the packages that they put in there and buy more if you need them. So don't worry about overpacking when you're road tripping it. I feel like when I do these Q&As, I get like out of breath. So if I'm out of breath or I'm sounding like I'm out of breath, I'm sorry, because I am out of breath and I just need a drink of water. What's a must-do see in Cabo? I'm going to do that in my Cabo vlog. I don't want to do it in this one only because there's so much. I pretty much have to list it out for you in the description. But if anybody wants like a full itinerary, feel free to message me on Instagram or email me. My email is in my Instagram bio, and I would be happy to send you a itinerary of all the fun places to go, all the good restaurants. So feel free to do that. I have one already made up on my computer because I send it to so many people. So it's not a problem at all. So guys, that is it for my travel Q&A. I hope it helped. And again, a lot of the questions, the answers were opinion-based, which is probably why you asked, just so I can tell you what works for us. I'm really excited for future travel vlogs and Q&As, so if there's anything that you want me to specifically do a Q&A on, please post in the comments below. Make sure you like this channel. Anybody who's traveling with a toddler, feel free to send them my way, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, and thanks so much for watching.